Alright, so the Karl Jobst situation has been ongoing since 2025 began. Like, it's been an ongoing situation for a while. I know he's made videos on, like, this speedrunner who might have cheated in a video game named Billy Mitchell, and then it turned into a lawsuit, and then Billy Mitchell decided to sue Karl Jobst for, I guess, other information that Karl Jobst included. I'm going to be real with you, I don't know every single detail of what's going on with the Karl Jobst situation. I have no clue. And that's the point of this video, is it seems like it's resurfacing, so there might be more information on and updates about the Karl Jobst situation. This is going to be the video that exists to educate myself on the Karl Jobst situation, because I've been meaning to for a while, and I've just never gotten around to it. This is an internet anarchist video called How This Loved YouTuber Destroyed His Reputation, referring to Karl Jobst. So without further ado, let's get right into this shit.
Karl Jobst's decade-long reputation is
Karl Jobst, dickhead? That's not nice of you, internet anarchist.
Right in front of his eyes, and there's nothing he can do to escape the situation he's gotten himself into. What started with him calling someone a cheater in video games
In my previous video, which was mostly focused on Guinness World Records, I lambasted Guinness for their shady practices and their reinstatement of records from a proven cheater, otherwise known as Billy Mitchell. Mitchell was upset by this and thought it was a good idea to begin a defamation claim against me.
Ended with a roast session from
I'm pretty sure it was more than just a defamation lawsuit about being upset with being called a cheater, no? I'm pretty sure it was a little bit more than that. Okay.
a judge.
Mr. Jobst clearly intended to be the knight who slew the Mitchell dragon. Unfortunately for him, his lance was not as strong as he believed it to be, and it has broken in the contest.
Karl had everything he could ask for in his legal battle against Billy Mitchell, from near universal support from the internet, including some of the biggest names on YouTube.
But what happens when you spend your entire lives as nothing but a clown? Someone who just embarrasses themselves at every step of their journey? Well, then you end up like Billy Mitchell.
To a loyal fan base willing to shell out over 200,000 Australian dollars to help their favorite creator. But just as everything was going in Karl's favor, something unexpected happened that no one saw coming.
Damn, okay. So he went from having the likes of Moist Critical and other people liking him, and then, like, I guess more information decided to come forward. I mean, that kind of goes to show that the internet is willing to believe everything. I mean, I guess I don't know all the context, so I would need to know, like, what this information was.
On the 1st of April, I lost my lawsuit against Billy Mitchell, and the judge has ordered me to pay $350,000 in damages, plus interest. He goes,
Ouch, $350,000. That's rough, dude. Oof, that's tough.
Without saying, this is not the result I wanted or expected, and it's honestly quite shocking.
Apparently, Billy's reason for suing Karl was completely different from what everyone thought it was.
Oh.
Leaving fans with a bitter sense of betrayal and broken trust. And by the way things are going, regaining his audience's trust seems almost impossible. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we're diving into the unexpected downfall of Karl Jobst, how he earned a reputation as someone willing to take on cheaters and bullies on the internet, only to see that reputation get destroyed practically overnight.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's really tough. I'm not gonna lie, Karl Jobst, like, saying that he got sued for one thing and then people giving him money under the assumption it was one lawsuit and then not having all the details, that's fucking tough. I can see why people would feel betrayed by that. That's rough. Because that is a pretty fucking huge lie.
But things didn't start off that way for Karl. Before he was a YouTuber, he was a fairly well-known speedrunner for classic games like GoldenEye 007 and Perfect Dark, all the way back in 1999.
I need to go and play Perfect Dark. That's been on the list for a long time. I really have to go back and play that one.
He stuck with this kind of content for the years to come, uploading his first ever YouTube video in 2014, which was a 3-game speedrun compilation.
Watch me beat 3 of the most classic games ever released from Nintendo in less than 1 hour.
Though he didn't start uploading more regularly until December of 2017, where he started off with his usual speedrunning content, before adding in a new recurring series in which he exposed and called out people who tried to cheat their way to the top.
Henning was a serial liar and cheater.
It is such a shame that a player such as this felt the need to resort to these actions and completely destroy everything that he had worked years to achieve.
Yeah, so I think this is the thing, right? I think we need to have a conversation about speedrunning, because speedrunning is a world that not everyone is super educated on. Speedrunning, I used to tune into, back in my Twitch platform, there's a Half-Life speedrunner I used to watch all the time. I was in his chat, like, all the time. He was one of my favorite streamers at the time to watch, like, outside of Dead by Daylight. If I was not in a Dead by Daylight stream, I was in this streamer's stream. I am not going to name him for reasons, just because my old Twitch platform is kind of just a thing of the past now. You know, speedrunning, it takes time and to really master it. Essentially, for people who don't know what speedrunning is, I'm sure most of you already know, but I'll explain it for those who don't. It essentially is just beating the game as fast as possible. This includes using in-game exploits. You can use out-of-bounds glitches. You can use speed, like bee-hopping glitches. There's like all sorts of methods depending on the game that you're playing to beat it as fast as possible. And it takes practice. It could even take years of practice. You have to constantly practice. And there's like all known speedrunners all over the world. You know, recently Half-Life just got like the fastest record of like 25 minutes. 25 minutes and 40 something seconds. Like, you could beat Half-Life in that amount of time if you put practice into it. It'll take a lot of practice, because Half-Life speedruns, to get really good at them, take a lot of skill. But yeah, it's like a legitimate thing. Like, even though you're using out-of-bounds exploits and like skills and stuff, like it takes a lot of RNG, a lot of there's a lot of that goes into it, right? There's any number of things that go into it. And so when people submit a run and it's discovered that that run is them cheating in that speed run, it's upsetting for many people. It's really saddening to see a lot of people look at that run and then go, oh, this guy cheated. It's disappointing, because it goes to show that they decided to resort to taking the shortcut and not putting in that skill. So that's why in the speedrunning community, it's just cringe and lame to see someone cheat and just destroy all of their credibility. Like, because that just makes people not want to watch you anymore. It's seen as pathetic, and for good reason. Like, you should be held to a higher standard if you cheat in a speedrun, okay? Now, obviously, it's not on the same level as, like, some of the other allegations and stuff that we talk about on the channel, you know? Or any other serious social issue, but it's super lame. I can see why people hold it to the standard that they do, like, because it's lame, and the whole point of speedrunning is to reward the amount of skill and time that you put into it. And so when people resort to cheating, it makes sense why people feel betrayed. And so that was the main gist of Karl Jobst's content, was to expose cheaters. Because I used to watch a lot of his content, actually. There was like a Doom speedrunner that was cheating. I think I watched like a Super Mario 64 video where someone cheated in their speedrun of Super Mario 64. And there's just many others.
As another top player, I am extremely saddened that his legitimate runs are not shown side by side with my own.
Karl's intense passion for keeping the speedrunning community free of cheaters was clear from his earliest uploads. What no one knew at the time, however, was that this same passion would one day lead to his downfall. But before that, let's rewind a bit and meet the man at the center of it all, William James Mitchell Jr., better known as Billy Mitchell. Billy's an old school gamer who made a name for himself by pushing classic arcade games like Pac-Man to their limits. He also set the world record for the highest score in Donkey Kong in 1982, earning him the title of the video game player of the century.
Hell yeah.
His fame hit new heights in 2007 when a full documentary about him titled The King of Kong dropped on the internet. By this point, Billy likely thought of himself as the greatest video game player of all time. However, his reputation came crashing down in 2018 when Twin Galaxies, the company that certified his Donkey Kong record, found evidence of him allegedly cheating.
In 2018? That's crazy. And I imagine Karl Jobst like covered his content like a lot back then, right? Okay, interesting. It's very crazy. Like, people like saw him and like him cheating in a video game as like, wow, that's lame, right? And once you cheat in a video game, people are never going to see you the same way ever again. Like, yes, you could probably get your credibility back up, but you're banned from submitting runs permanently. And also, like, you're just, like, people are going to look at you and go, how do we know you're not going to cheat going forward? Like, you were willing to do that once. How do we know you're not going to do that again? Like, it's just, it's one of those stains in speedrunning that does follow you. And that's really, we could have a conversation about whether it should or it shouldn't follow you forever. I'm open to that conversation, but I can see why people would be very disappointed for an extremely long time after someone cheats in a speedrun, because that's fucking lame. That's pathetic.
And removed his record. And that's where Karl enters the picture. In July of 2020, Karl posted a now deleted video titled, "Guinness World Records Should Stay Out of Gaming." It was a video essay in which Karl argued that the Guinness World Records company lacked the expertise to properly verify video game related records. And about 11 minutes into the video, he mentioned the Billy Mitchell case to back his argument. You see, once Twin Galaxies stripped Billy of his record, Guinness followed suit, since they relied on Twin Galaxies for their scores. However, not long after, Guinness reinstated his record, overruling Twin Galaxies' verdict, despite not having any expertise in the field, and that's what rubbed Karl the wrong way.
Lately, things have gotten much worse, and a couple of terrible decisions have essentially destroyed their relationship with most gamers. The worst of which being the reinstatement of world records of a proven cheater. In 2018, Twin Galaxies stripped Mitchell of all of his records after it was shown that his Donkey Kong scores were not performed on a Donkey Kong arcade. Following this decision,
Yeah, so obviously, like, Billy Mitchell, if that's true, which it seems like it is, it's leaning to the fact that it is true because the original publishers of the speedrun determined Billy Mitchell as a cheater, then he absolutely should get that taken off, and that's very disappointing. Obviously, it's very disappointing when someone cheats in a speedrun, because, like, you're a speedrunner, you've been doing it for a while, you've been getting all these things, and, like, if you're known as someone who speedruns and you try to submit it to, like, an actual world record, you should be held to a higher standard.
Guinness also removed Mitchell's records after receiving this advice from Twin Galaxies. However, in a bizarre turn of events, Guinness decided to reinstate Mitchell's records last month, going against the ruling of Twin Galaxies. This is a crazy decision, as Guinness are not experts in high scores and are in no position to make judgments.
And while this was a small section in a much broader video, Billy didn't like the way Karl talked about him and threatened legal action.
It seems as though Mitchell didn't appreciate his cameo in my previous video, which was mostly focused on Guinness World Records.
Yeah, so, again, to my knowledge, and this is just for, like, hearing a bunch of outside noises, I'm pretty sure that the reason why Billy Mitchell sued was for something, I mean, obviously, Internet Anarchist brought it up earlier in this video, but Billy Mitchell, like, sued him for something else that Karl might have said, I think. So, I guess Internet Anarchist is going to go into that.
ILM blasted Guinness for their shady practices and their reinstatement of records from a proven cheater, otherwise known as Billy Mitchell. Mitchell was upset by this and thought it was a good idea to begin a defamation claim against me. He contacted multiple lawyers in my state, eventually finding one gullible enough to forward on a notice demanding that I take down the video, apologize, and pay him $150,000. You heard correctly, he is demanding $150,000 because I briefly mentioned him in a video 2 weeks ago.
But instead of backing off after this threat, Karl doubled down and began covering Billy's antics in much greater detail. He released videos talking about Billy's lawsuit against Twin Galaxies for revoking his record, and the one he filed against another YouTuber for calling him a cheater. Karl even went as far as creating a GoFundMe to help others caught in Billy's wave of lawsuits, stating, "Billy Mitchell, the disgraced Donkey Kong player who was caught cheating and lying multiple times, continues to use the legal system as a weapon against those who speak out against him. This GoFundMe has been created in order to help his current victims afford legal defenses." This apparently enraged Billy even more, who, after a couple more legal threats and...
Yeah, so if Karl Jobst put out this GoFundMe, obviously if there's like a legal case going on, Billy Mitchell wouldn't be able to talk about why he's suing him. But then again, wait, I think you could, because Ethan Klein in his lawsuit against Casey Tron Denims and Frogan, he said that the reason they did it was because they were maliciously reacting to his content as a form of stealing it, which is a valid reason to sue them. I don't know, man. Like, you would be able to say the reason you would sue them. I don't know why Billy Mitchell didn't make that clear earlier. Maybe he was scared that he couldn't talk about it because he was legally binded?
lawsuits filed a massive $450,000 defamation lawsuit against Karl. Now, a YouTuber getting sued by someone they criticized is nothing new. I recently covered something similar between BitBoy and Atozy, and just like that case, the vast majority of people stood firmly behind Karl, helping him raise over $200,000 on GoFundMe.
Yeah, and they realized that Karl Jobst lied somewhere, or at least omitted information that would have otherwise been important.
All while making fun of Billy every chance they got, with comments like, "This guy is not the clown, not the circus, but the whole entertainment industry," and "Billy Mitchell's the kind of guy to Google himself all day long just to find people to sue." Even the creator of Minecraft, Notch, chimed in and pledged to cover all of Karl's legal fees no matter the total cost. Karl also kept posting videos about Billy and all the lawsuits he lost against other people and companies along the way. By the time his case against Karl reached trial, Billy was already 0 for 8. Every prior lawsuit had been dismissed or settled. So, to say that Karl and his fans were confident in a total victory would be an understatement.
Lawsuit Billy has remaining is the one against me. Am I really going to be the only person Billy wins against? Oh boy, wouldn't that just be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, where's that JonTron clip of him saying that didn't age quite so well?
The decision was set to be announced during a YouTube livestream on the 1st of April 2025. Thousands of people tuned in to see Billy get destroyed by the judge. But what happened next caught everyone off guard, leaving everyone in a state of shock and confusion.
Quote, Mr. Jobs clearly intended to be the knight who slew the Mitchell dragon. Unfortunately for him, his lance was not as strong as he believed it to be, and it has broken in the contest. I have found that all of this conduct has caused Mr. Mitchell additional personal harm and additional harm to his reputation. I have concluded that there should be judgment for Mr. Mitchell in the sum of $300,000 for non-economic loss and $50,000 in aggravated damages.
The court ruled in Billy's favor, ordering Karl to pay over $350,000 in damages.
Which is fucking crazy. That hurts. Like, I mean, then again, I'm sure Karl has made a lot of money off YouTube, so I'm sure it's not going to be enough to, like, I guess, do him in, but $350,000 is still a lot of money. That's, like, that's absurd.
Alongside Billy's legal fees. And while we don't have the exact figures, some estimates put the total cost to be over $1.5 million. That said, the financial blow—
oh yeah, that's tough. If you would count the lawyer fees as well—
pales in comparison to the true cost of the lawsuit, Karl's reputation. Because, as it turns out, Karl had been lying about the case from the very beginning, or at least that's how his fans feel after learning the truth. You see, up until the very end, most people believed that Billy sued Karl for calling him a cheater, when, in reality, Billy filed the defamation suit after Karl publicly accused him of something far more serious.
Oh.
However, to fully understand the situation, we first need to look at the lawsuit Billy filed against another speedrunning YouTuber back in 2019. Benjamin Smith, aka Apollo Legend, made a couple of videos exposing the inconsistencies in Billy's original Donkey Kong record back in 2018. Billy did—
okay. Damn. There's a lot of lawsuits that go on in the fucking speedrunning community, I guess. More than I realized initially.
Didn't like the critique and ended up suing Apollo a few months later in 2019. Apollo eventually settled the case with Billy in 2020, agreeing to remove all videos related to him from his channel and to never mention him again. Tragically, not long after this settlement, Apollo posted his last video on YouTube thanking his fans for their love and support before ending everything, which brings—
fans concerned after YouTube Apollo Legend. Oh. Jesus Christ. Over a loss? I mean, Jesus fuck.
brings us back to Billy's victory
How fucking bad was this lawsuit for him? Like, I assume a lot of money.
against Karl, the reason for which can be traced back to a single mistake Karl made back in 2021. In one of his many videos about Billy, Karl said this.
He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life.
Jesus fucking Christ. Well, I was not prepared for that one.
insinuating that Billy was the reason behind Apollo Legends' self-assassination.
I need to play that again.
He was forced to lawsuit Legend for $1 million.
Karl said this.
He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell.
Giving in and settling with Mitchell. So, what does he mean by giving in? Does he actually refer to him taking his own life specifically there with that wording? Or is it like later?
He was forced to remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money.
Okay.
This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life.
Oh, okay. I got it. So yeah, that is definitely insinuating that Billy Mitchell was responsible for taking his own life. I don't think there's any way Billy Mitchell would have been able to predict that he would have taken his own life. I don't think there was any way to know that this is something that could have done that. Yeah, I don't think Billy Mitchell would have known that.
Insinuating that Billy was the reason behind Apollo Legends' self-assassination.
Sure, I can see why people would come to the conclusion based on Karl's wording of it, yeah.
This was an extremely serious allegation, and Karl didn't provide any evidence to back his claim. The part about Apollo having to pay Billy a large sum and going into debt as a result was also essentially made up, since none of it was ever mentioned in the info that was released to the public. To top it all off, Apollo never once suggested that Billy played a role in his tragic decision. In his final video, he only mentioned his ongoing battle with declining mental health and physical health as the biggest reason.
Yeah, so there's no way you would have been able to know that Billy Mitchell was part of it. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Yeah, wow. Oh, man, and Karl Jobst clearly knew this, but he purposefully left that information out. That's pretty scummy. That's a pretty scummy thing to do. Yeah, wow, holy shit. That's actually, wow.
What you guys have to understand is that for really my whole life, I've had to deal with serious physical illness, serious mental illness, as well as some pretty terrible past experiences. And it's finally hit me where I realized that this is not something that is gonna go away.
Now, making
Wow, Jesus Christ.
such a massive allegation without any evidence was his first mistake. The second major mistake Karl made was hiding the truth of the lawsuit from his audience, and the backlash was immediate.
Yeah, that's extraordinarily deceptive of Karl. That's really fucked up.
Like this top...
It would have definitely been nice to paint the full picture, and I'm pretty sure with lawsuits you can, I mean, it can vary from case to case. I'm just thinking of like Ethan Klein's lawsuit. He gave the reason why he was suing. So I don't know why Billy Mitchell didn't come forward and say the reason he was suing, unless maybe he did and people didn't believe him at the time.
reply under his tweet announcing the loss, which reads, "You could really use some self-reflection instead of blaming Billy for something that was pure conjecture by you, even in defeat. Look at how many people are surprised because you repeatedly misled them on the actual purpose of the lawsuit." Karl first replied to the backlash with a statement on Twitter, reading, "There are a lot of lies being spread that I falsely claimed Billy sued me because I said he cheated. I never claimed this.
Yes, you definitely did. You definitely did, Karl. Oh my god. Oh, what a fucking sleazebag. Ugh, what a sleazy fucking... Oh, that's terrible. No, he definitely did.
only claimed it was relevant as part of my defense.
Okay,
I
dude.
didn't openly discuss certain details for obvious reasons, but I was never trying to hide why I was being sued.
You definitely were. I don't believe that.
But the criticism that I should have been more transparent is valid, and I'm sorry. Truthfully, I didn't want to repeat or mention any claims regarding Apollo Legend because it may have jeopardized my defense. I never intentionally lied regarding Apollo Legend either. I relied on incorrect information from multiple sources. I retracted the statements once I confirmed it was accurate, but apparently it was not sufficient. But instead of calming things down, it only fueled the outrage.
Yeah, because he's lying in this response. He definitely tried to make it seem like he was.
Many who felt betrayed by the reveal saw this as Karl trying to deflect the blame, with
Yeah.
one angry viewer writing, "A vast majority of your
Oh god, Pro Reborn? Oh Jesus Christ. Pro Reborn is like, oh jeez, he's kind of cringe. I've seen him on YouTube, or on Twitter, mainly from Call of Duty, and I saw him tweet about, like, Charlie Kirk's, like, death, and he was, like, going on about the radical left and all this stuff. He was, like, being, like, super... I don't know, this guy, Pro Reborn, has always given me, like, very weird vibes every time I've seen his tweets.
identity in the past few years has been this lawsuit, and only in one of these videos you decided to mention the smoking gun that would have completely changed the audience's perception of you. Stuff like this is why nobody trusts a thing anymore. Now, to be fair, Karl did include a link to one of his videos that outlined Billy's actual reasoning behind the lawsuit.
He blamed me for taking the life of another human being and for what I did to him.
Yeah, okay, so Billy Mitchell tried to make that clear, but it seems like that Karl didn't include that. And I guess no one believed him at the time because everybody had a lot of faith in Karl.
And I said, that's it.
However, what he failed to mention in his statement is that this was only a small portion in one of the many videos he posted about Billy in the last few years. Not to mention the fact that instead of addressing the matter with the depth it deserved, Karl hand-waved this away almost immediately.
Billy Mitchell is referring to the YouTuber Apollo Legend, who tragically took his own life in December of 2020. I won't go into specifics about this particular point because it does relate to his ongoing lawsuit against me, but again, everything he just said is a lie.
Put simply, Karl posted dozens of videos talking about Billy and his many lawsuits, yet only one of them mentioned the truth of what the lawsuit was about. So it's no surprise that so many viewers believed he was being sued for the cheating allegations. On the 17th of April, Karl returned with a 30-minute video titled "I Lost."
Great. So Karl, I think Karl, now that he realizes he's losing his audience, he's going to try to keep milking this lawsuit to see if people will come back and give him engagement regardless of how much that engagement is. Because I think Karl at this point has lost so much money from, like, lawsuits and lawyers and then also losing the fucking lawsuit. And so now Karl is just going to rely on whatever possible engagement he can get to try to recover as much money as possible. That's my theory. I think that's the strategy that Karl is going for here.
Which he tried to defend his actions again. But just like his previous attempt on Twitter, this did little to salvage his sinking reputation. The whole thing felt like Karl trying to shift the blame of his blunder onto others, going as far as to claim that this quote, misunderstanding, was caused by online media articles.
Normally, I'd give you a full breakdown of this kind of thing, but because
Bro,
this
everybody is Australian in this video. Crikey. Crikey.
one involves me, I'm
I can't do an Australian accent. I tried.
going to keep my cards a lot closer to my chest. What I will tell you is that I am being sued for defamation, and the amount of damages being sought is $450,000. I will definitely be giving you updates as we go, but I don't want to give out too many details or strategies before I use them in court. After this, I didn't talk about my lawsuit at all for over a year. And during this time, news outlets were posting articles about how Billy was suing me for cheating. Again, this wasn't because I said this. I wasn't even talking about my lawsuit at all. These articles were being written because reporters were reading the court documents where these issues were being argued.
Completely sidelining his lack of transparency one.
Yeah, so obviously that's not true. Like, oh my god. I'm fucking disappointed. I never tuned into this situation. I had no idea what was happening. I'm actually really disappointed. Like, this is fucking insane. I watched Karl Jobst's content a lot, like, before all of this. Like, I watched him back in 2022 and 2021. This is just really upsetting and disappointing, to be honest. Like, this is... I don't know, man. That's tough. That's really tough to just lie to your audience about what the lawsuit was and then, like, try to omit details. And it's, like, obviously, it's one thing if you can't say certain things because of legal reasons. I understand that. But, like, you knowingly misled your audience into believing one thing, and that is something you deserve to be called out for. Absolutely.
What's more, as the comments under this video mention, I have followed you over the years and never had the impression that this lawsuit was about anything other than him cheating. I went back and rewatched all of Karl's videos about the lawsuit. In context, they all give the impression that the lawsuit was about cheating.
Yes. That's exactly what it was.
The Apollo legend connection was barely mentioned. Even Charlie, who fully supported Karl in the past, and was also called in as a witness, had no idea what the case was really about.
Oof, that's fucking brutal. Well, I thought that was dead to rights. Then again, I didn't know what the full case was about. When I was called as a witness, it was about his reputation. And they kept bringing up the grapevine effect, and then failing to prove it in any meaningful capacity to the point the judge got mad at Billy Mitchell's lawyers. So I thought that was a slam dunk W. I don't know what happened there towards the end that went so wrong.
Bluntly speaking, this lawsuit has been an
Yeah, it's a case that you think would have been a slam dunk, but then you realize, oh wow, this case is about something else completely differently, and it's just very disappointing when you actually know what's happening.
a disaster for Karl Jobst. Not only did he give Billy Mitchell his first complete legal victory in decades, he did so in a way that destroyed his reputation too.
Yeah, I don't think Karl Jobst can come back from this. This is rough. To, like, really lie to your audience and cause them to think one thing about the lawsuit, they've donated tons of money to help you with your lawsuit, only to realize their money was wasted because you fucking lied to them, and you didn't even succeed in the lawsuit anyways. It's like, that's really fucked up. That's like, how do you ever recover building trust with your audience ever again after something like that? Because that's that's not just like a small lie that someone made out of like anything. That's a pretty big lie. Like, that's an incredibly big lie.
This has also given Billy Mitchell the opportunity to roast the living hell out of Karl on social media.
And I still see Billy Mitchell on my feed roasting Karl, and I don't know what the fuck Karl, like, I never even knew the context of the Karl Jobst situation. Now that I have a pretty good idea of it, Karl is just fucked. Like, he kind of deserves every bit of him getting made fun of for this. More than that, like, I really don't blame people for not wanting to watch Karl anymore. That's really messed up. Because that's a pretty fucking huge lie that he made up.
With him posting clips of chapters of Karl's life that many of his viewers have never seen before.
Hi, Karl Jobst here, creator of ApproachHerNow.com. And if you're looking to increase your level of confidence around women and decrease the amount of anxiety you feel when you want to approach women, you've come to the right place.
Oh god, okay. Incredible. I don't really care as much about his older videos. I mean, if you want to clown on them, that's fine, but I don't care as much about this.
Hey guys, it's Karl here. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a simple and easy approach you can do if you're looking to overcome your fear of approaching women.
Is Karl just like, is this like an unironic content that he made, or is he just doing this to like troll?
Repurposing Karl's catchphrase, "Hello you absolute legends," into "Hello you absolute virgins."
Crazy.
All while promoting his hot sauce with the discount code KarlLost. And while some people, like Notch, are still standing by his side, a massive chunk—
let me see. People turning on Karl Jobst like they got bored of being part of the good guys. Is it possible the real problem here is the cheating, narcissistic, pathological liar and not, the up until this morning, this trusted community member? I mean, maybe. Like, I don't think Billy Mitchell... Listen, to be clear, I don't know if Billy Mitchell is, like... I wouldn't say I have that much respect for him, because he did cheat in a speedrun. But then again, that cheating was, like, late 2000s, so... He could probably move on from it. I don't know if I'd say he's narcissistic. I wouldn't go that far. Not the best take from Notch, but also, I don't know, man. I feel like Karl Jobst is more in the wrong for lying about implying that he was responsible for someone's suicide. That's a very huge allegation.
of his viewers have lost the trust they once had in Karl and his content. They kept rooting for him for years, only to realize they never knew the full truth. However, while regaining that trust might prove near impossible, this doesn't mean that Karl's career is completely over. A part of his audience never cared about the lawsuit in the first place, and just want to see more speedrunning related videos. Like this one fan on Twitter who wrote, "Karl, I've been here since the beginning, and I will say the transition to almost all drama content, although very profitable, is so much worse than your speedrunning content. I hope you can focus more on that going forward. As long as he stays focused on winning back his audience, there's a good chance he'll recover to some extent.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I think lying about something like that is really icky. And listen, if Karl wants to change and do better, I'm open to it, but my trust in him completely fucking shattered after this video. It's just insane to lie about someone like that and then like get all your audience to donate to you to a lawsuit thinking it was one way when it really wasn't. It's just fucked up. It's really fucked up. It's on par with like scamming your audience.
Even so, his new reputation as a creator who misled his own audience will likely follow him for the rest of his career.
Probably.
Karl Jobst.
Oh my god. Yeah, it probably will follow him for the rest of his career. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't educated on the Karl Jobst situation. I consider me educated now. Jesus Christ.